Do you want to be able to smelt over 1,700 items in under 10 minutes? That's what the Super Shulker Smelter is for. Next on Creations. Okay, let's start this out with the supplies you're going to need. Of course, with this being a smelter system, you are going to need 32 furnaces as well as about 108 hoppers. You also need 76 standard rails, 34 powered rails. You're going to need about a stack of slabs and about a stack and a half of building blocks of your choice, with probably about 6 or so matching stairs. 8 chests. Then we'll need 5 blocks of redstone, a good stack of redstone dust, comparator, repeater, lamp, switch, redstone torch. You will need a sticky piston, a cauldron, a bucket of water to fill that cauldron. I didn't put one in here, but trying to clarify. And then you will want a crafting bench. For decor, you'll probably want maybe a trapdoors matching the block palette you've selected. And then, of course, you will need 2 hopper mine carts. With this being a super smelter, you are going to want access to a lot of sand. And with the amount that this machine smelts, you're going to want a good fuel source. Something along the line of kelp blocks, coal blocks, blaze rods. And of course, with it being a shulker system, you're going to need access to shulkers also. Take a screenshot, pause the screen, write the notes that you need. Let's move on. Alright, I've taken the liberty of putting a few placement blocks just to get us started. Along a center line, we're going to want to go ahead and towards the far end have a reference point of where our shulkers are going to be. That's what that purple block is. Here, I'll put address there so you can visually see it. Obviously that's empty, but the whole concept is that we're going to have lines of hoppers from either side from 2 separate sets of 16 furnaces funneling into that. And I'll go ahead and get that put in there so we have a reference point of where we're going to build everything else. And that reference point is, of course, about 2 blocks to either side. Let me clear that block and give you a cross view here. And then we're going to be going 4 blocks away from it. So 2 off to either side, 4 blocks away from your endpoint. But before I get to that, I'll just get these, again, 2 rows of 8 to create 2 sections of 16 on either side, 32. And then, because these are hoppers with an inventory slot, you're going to have to shift-click all your furnaces onto that. Let me go ahead and get these placed, and I'll be right with you. And that's what she looks like when you've got all the hoppers connected in. Again, top, side, and bottom, you've got each furnace surrounded by 3 hoppers. Make a little staircase. Let's work on the rails. We're going to do powered rails to begin with, of course, and then you have 2 separate rail networks. One for fuel, one for items to be smelt. And we're going to want to make sure those don't cross and merge, so you want to focus 1 rail at a time usually. Okay, when you get to the edges here, this is where we get a slab, and we put the slabs connected off of the hoppers, like that. And then we are also then going to want to get a block of redstone. We're going to want to make sure the block of redstone is connected to the furnace. If it touches the hoppers, that will lock the hopper and it's not going to fuel it, but the furnaces are unaffected by the redstone block. Okay, and again, going to be doing yourself a favor if you take these rails 1 level at a time, and I think it goes a little easier if you focus on the top rail first. It's still going to have I'm not the world's biggest fan of the placement rules for Minecraft rails on which direction they want to turn, going up, down, or turning right or left, etc. But it's one of those things that you just have to deal with if you want to use them, because rails are handy for this. To merge the two fuel systems, you're going to get yourself a slab line with a redstone block in the middle to help power some rails. And that's what I mean again. Okay, so we're going to temporarily take off this top block and we'll connect it like that. That way the cart will actually come over and start its path on top of the top sand feeding rail, on top of the second sand feeding rail. And we do another loop just like this. Okay, for now, grab another block, get that off to the side, and then powered rails then, so we can continue to get the system escalated back upwards to start completing the circuit. Alright, return back over here and let's start continue with two powered rails, then we return to normal rails to continue the circuit then for the fuel line. Okay. I feel like that block's out of place, but let me build this so I can see it in a better reference here. We'll go ahead and get a slab connecting the two fuel lines, powered rail next to that, powered rail on caddy cornered hoppers. Then we're going to connect those with standard rails. Then we're going to get a half slab with a redstone torch in between those two powered rails. That's how they are powered, yet the hoppers are not. Still feel like this redstone block's out of place. Okay, go ahead and grab standard rails and continue those along the line for the fuel line. We are going to mirror just what we did on the other side. Slabs on the edge. Make sure your redstone block is connected to the furnaces, not the hoppers. Turn the corner, powered rails on the edges. Again, slab to bridge over, corner, and then we go down the line. Then we will start taking a standard block to escalate this up. Alright, returning back to the original corner, we're going to go ahead and get a slab line. Two slabs with a redstone block. Then I did make a mistake here. This corner needs to be a redstone block as well because it powers everything. Then three slabs to connect the rail line here. And we are using a line across the top here to complete the feed circuit. I did catch two of my mistakes and I apologize. That block needed to be redstone because that's going to power the powered rails for this corner for both the sand line as well as the fuel line. And we'll go ahead and get that last line taken care of here. Like that. Then this can be just line here. We'll get the extension for the return line then. And this is actually important because this is going to be where rails start to get fed here. So this line will actually be the line that we place the shulkers on top of to actually load the sand for this system. When you've got those built over, we're going to put a couple of blocks over here to get the line connected to return back to the original corner. Clean that up. Alright, so along the edges here, we're going to use powered lines on the corner. Then we use standard lines to run it back. 3 powered rails down the center line. I like to try and do 3 in a row where I can so we get the things at maximum speed. Alright, and also in that center area, I had the redstone block 1 rail off. That center redstone block in the center rail will power all 3 rails. Alright, now we need to start building a loading platform for us to be able to actually load our shulkers and operate the machine. Go ahead and get yourself some slabs and go ahead and directly place those slabs on top of the fuel line. That's where we'll be standing then, because we just need to be able to place shulkers above the sand line. Then come back over to the corner and we're going to go ahead and place a block on top of the line here and do a line of blocks all along this edge. These blocks will be the place we click on essentially to load the sand shulkers. Take the blocks over to the edge, turn the corner, temporary blocks right there, and then to balance the equation, turn the corner here to kind of give us a small little working platform, like that. Add some stairs just to kind of dress it up. Then, like I said, these were temporary, so we are going to go ahead and knock out the sides as well. One block in, I find it handy to have a crafting bench. On the very corner then, we are going to go ahead and add a redstone lamp. And then we'll put a switch. That's how we're going to turn this machine on and off. Home stretch, let's talk about wiring. Need to swap a couple of rails out for powering. These first two standard rails, we need to switch them for powered rails on both the sand feed line as well as the fuel line. Go ahead and swap both of them out, and I'll get back to you on that. Now we do the powered. Underneath the glass, the redstone lamp, we're going to go ahead and drop a line of redstone dust. And I'll show you that that is powered and working. Alright, once you've got that, we get a line of slabs and blocks off to the edge, continuing the redstone power. So we're going to just run this along the edge so we can then cross it over and power these rails. We need a block to be directly against the edge of the fuel line rail. That shows that, okay. Oh yeah, slabs don't go down. So the end one has to be a block as well. Forgot about that. And there we are. That is powered. Then we take a few more blocks to raise this up. And we are going to want to also take some slabs as we go over the fuel line to get the power to the sand line. So we will need, of course, a block to be connected against that third redstone rail, and then connect like this. Delete that extra block. So we just want a nice clean, 90-degree turn, dust, powered up. Excellent. While I'm here, let me go ahead and highlight that one correction I made. That redstone block that I just felt wasn't right. It wasn't. So where you have the three rails working their way up through the system, you do not want the redstone block on the very first one. You want that in center rail so that that redstone block will power the rails to the sides and on top of it. You can do it all with one redstone block. Alright, let's come back over here to finish building our control system. Grab one of your trapdoors and the block next to the bench. We're going to go ahead and place a trapdoor behind it because we are very quickly going to be getting rid of that block, and that will be where the shulker box of fuel goes to. Off to the side and underneath that, place a chest and then place a hopper to connect the two. Return back to the front. Go ahead and remove that block now. And it just occurs to me I'm going to need to clear. Yeah, okay. So remove this block temporarily to clear out the inventory because you don't want that going into the fuel line. So it's fuel in the corner, and then it'll be sand all along the line. Tail end here, let's start working on getting the shulker loader set up here. First thing we're obviously going to do is connect the actual hopper lines with about 5 hoppers, 2 over, and then 3 to connect it to each of the set of 16 furnaces. Now I'll build this initially just so you can kind of see it, but I am going to go ahead and clear it out quickly because we will need the working space. Like that. Alright, so that gives you an idea of how the two systems merge together. These will produce a lot of glass, and so I do encourage you to have it merge at the shulker. Otherwise, any system will likely get jammed. I've tried merging quicker, and I've completely jammed dropper vaders and stuff. So you want to have them connect at the shulker box. Just trust me on this. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these off now. And we're going to go ahead and work on getting the system for the shulker loader. To the caddy corner of the shulker, you're going to want to make it, no, not two chests. You're going to want to make a double chest, and then get a hopper to feed into that off to the side. Then come around side here, we want a hopper underneath the shulker connecting to that first hopper that feeds into the double chest. Like that. Then we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a comparator that feeds directly into the hopper. That's going to be the detector for the hopper lock. That's how we get the cauldron. Then this is where we need that bucket of water. Yep. Okay. And then now we want to fill the cauldron. No, we want to fill the cauldron, not flood everything. You knew it was going to happen too. Alright. And then we get the detector back in there. That is what will lock the hopper. We get another detector getting the signal out of the redstone, putting that into a block. Then we will stair step some blocks going over the shulker. Delete that. And then we will get a piston crusher going downwards. Fill in that block. Alright, then we get another block off to the side to start stair stepping downwards. And then we will also need to get ourselves a sticky piston that will be raising and lowering the cauldron. That is how we control the redstone signal. Like this. And fill that in. And then I need to get a redstone torch and power like that. Okay, now we get ourselves a dispenser and we place it so that it's dispensing fresh shulkers. Get a little redstone dust and we dust the stairs that we built. 1, 2, 3. Alright. Hard part's mostly done here. Now we get another detector and we plug that directly into the redstone detector we have, but on subtract mode. Then we get ourselves a chest. We're going to put that behind the detector, and then we fill that with literally any block of cobble, dirt, or useless items. We just want a good strong signal that's not going to give us extra redstone. That's the system mostly. From here, we are going to go ahead and do a couple of feed lines, replace the original hopper feed line from the Glassmaster to the shulker loader, and then make a second line into the dispenser but go upwards, and then get a double chest that will place directly on top of it, and this will be where we load our shulkers. With the fact I'm in creative right now, go ahead and steal that shulker, and then we'll go ahead and fill the chest. You don't necessarily have to fill it to work, but since you're going to be smelting at least 7 blocks of 7 shulkers of sand at a time, you're going to want some shulkers in here. Give you a few views. That is largely the build. Now we need to prep it. Along the fuel line, I recommend getting a whole bunch of wooden shovels so that there's only one inventory slot available. That way you don't have to have 5 stacks of fuel in any slot. I just encourage use the fuel lines to limit it to 1 slot per hopper. It'll give you a better fuel efficiency. I'll go ahead and get that set. Alright, so this is a shulker full of coal, and then we are going to go ahead and grab some shulkers all full of sand. And this is how the concept works. Don't touch the materials, just place the shulkers, flip the switch, and you already can hear and see them working. It's a beautiful system. But you take a look at it, you can see that on any shulker as it's going by, it's already subtracting the sand, and then it's going to go ahead and disperse that amongst all 32 furnaces. Hop off. But I want to take a look here and look at it. All of it working in tandem. Now, I built this with the space in between it. I moved the shulker off to the side so you can come underneath, you can grab all the XP whenever you want. Because you're going to be putting enough materials into this, it's almost your own XP farm. It's beautiful. Alright, so hoppers move pretty quick, so it's rare I actually see the glass flowing through here. I'm going to go ahead and do a time test for you and hang out so we see how long it takes to get a shulker. Under 10 minutes. Under 10 minutes. So that is, for reference, 1,728 pieces of glass in under 10 minutes. And remember, you can be smelting 7 boxes of sand at a time. I hope that helped. I'm Commander Tom. If this helped you out or if it just made you smile, leave a like and subscribe. I drop videos like this multiple times a week. If you want to learn more, that's what the Commander Crew's favorite is for. If you've already watched all of those, I've got something special just for you. I'm Commander Tom, and I will see you next mine. Thanks.